Like most people my age, I grew up thinking that Christopher Columbus discovered America. If you go online, you see countless articles and YouTube videos stating that he didn't, that it was a Viking, I can't remember his name now, who discovered America. But and it wasn't Christopher Columbus, it was discovered a few hundred years earlier. I'm sure handfuls of people have set foot on America from Europe before this, but it's never been documented. So I'll revise my opinion and say he did discover America, but he wasn't the first. Now, people online, I've seen lots of videos saying that Columbus was stupid, that he was an idiot, he only discovered America by accident, which is an idiotic statement in itself, yeah. Because if you don't know something is there, how can you discover it on purpose? So yeah, he discovered it by accident. He was also the first person in Europe to bring back detailed maps and bring it to the consciousness of Europeans. Now, despite what people think of Columbus, to do all this in 1492 and travel back and forth to America 4 times is an amazing achievement and something that I've been interested in for a while. So I decided to take a trip to the place where he was born, which is Genova in Italy. The first thing you see when you step out of the train station at Genova is this statue of Columbus looking out towards the harbour. So that's where I headed to start my journey into the mind of the man himself. At the harbour, I boarded a ship to get a flavour of the sort of ships Columbus would have sailed on. This particular ship was built for a movie in 1986 named Pirates. The film was set in the year 1659, 153 years after Columbus died, but it was the closest thing I could find to the Nina, the Pinta or the Santa Maria, the 3 ships Columbus used for his first voyage to America in 1492. In the 1800s, naturalists Alfred Russel Wallace, Charles Darwin and Jean-Louis Agassiz conducted research in the Americas. In an account of his trip, Agassiz wrote, "In a pond hardly bigger than a tennis court, I discovered more fish species than in all the rivers in England." Despite the fact that Columbus had worked on ships during his teenage years and had become something of an expert, it is difficult to imagine how he and his crew must have felt encountering alien species for the first time, over 300 years before Darwin, Wallace and Agassiz conducted their research. It was scary enough for me, even from the safety of my cage. In 1476, aged 14, Columbus sailed on a merchant ship sunk by pirates near Portugal, the country where he first cultivated ideas to voyage west, inspired by the works of Marco Polo many years earlier. He courted officials in Portugal and England to fund an expedition to reach Asia via an uncharted route. The accepted route for sailors was south, around Africa's Cape of Good Hope, and then up into Asia, as travelling overland was extremely treacherous at the time. I visited this Royal Palace Museum, built in the mid-1600s, to try to present a contrast to Columbus's home on my penultimate stop before my visit there, and to highlight the immense wealth the European ruling classes had in and around the time of Columbus. It is difficult to imagine how he kept his spirits up after being rejected by both the English and the Portuguese. However, in 1492, Spanish monarchs Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile presented him with the funds he needed, and on the 3rd of August that year, he set sail. My final stop was a visit to Christopher Columbus's childhood home. The house is just outside Genova's 14th century city walls. It's quite basic. His father was a wool trader and used the ground floor for business projects. The upper floor is empty, but on the walls there are posters containing information about Columbus. On one of the interior walls there is a plaque which says the house stands as an intense memorial to Christopher Columbus, Genova's extraordinary son. Columbus was undoubtedly a great explorer, but in recent years his reputation has been irreparably tarnished, as many scholars have spoken out against him. He was arrested after his third voyage to the Americas for his brutal handling of natives. Charges against him were dropped, but he was stripped of his titles as Governor of the Indies. Even after his first voyage to the New World, his intentions were immediately clear. In a journal gifted to Isabella, Columbus wrote, "They brought us parrots and balls of cotton and spears and many other things, which they exchanged for the glass beads and hawks' bells. They willingly traded everything they owned. They were well built, with good bodies and handsome features. They do not bear arms, and do not know them. For I showed them a sword. They took it by the edge and cut themselves out of ignorance. They have no iron. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want." During this period in history, enslavement was quite common, but many accounts of the day highlight that Columbus and his men were particularly brutal in their treatment of Native Americans. A sad legacy for a man with so many admirable qualities.